Keeping Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon is not a new or recent national security priority for the Obama administration. It's been a core priority since the very beginning. And our commitment to stopping Iran is not just rhetoric, our commitment is backed up with action. For us at the Treasury Department, that means that we've worked with Congress, agencies across the federal government, our counterparts around the world to build an international sanctions regime without precedent. And let us not forget that when this sanctions regime was being put together, it was criticized. It was called idiot diplomacy, merely a political statement and an idea whose time has come and gone. After all, the United States had already put in place a near total embargo on Iran for more than a decade. Many doubted whether the international community would remain united to stop Iran, whether countries with great energy needs like China and India would join us and agree to dramatically reduce their oil purchases, and whether the United States government could put together a sanctions program that would be effective enough to pressure the leadership in Tehran to alter its plans. Those doubts were proven wrong. Thanks to our sanctions, Iran finds itself isolated from the international financial system. Its oil exports are slashed by more than half, and much of its oil revenue and foreign reserves are out of reach. In other words, today, when we look at Iran, we see an economy struggling under the weight of the most effective and most innovative sanctions regime in history. At the same time, inside Iran, sanctions helped shape the country's political discourse, and Iran elected a president who campaigned on the importance of ending Iran's international isolation. To be clear, sanctions were always a means to an end. They were designed to help bring Iran's leaders to the table to negotiate a serious agreement on its nuclear program. And while we will not know until the process is completed whether there will be an agreement, there is no doubt that our sanctions work to bring Iran to the table prepared to make serious concessions. Following months of hard bargaining and tough negotiations, we struck an interim understanding with Iran in November 2013. In accordance with that arrangement, Tehran froze and rolled back parts of its nuclear program while we continue to negotiate on a longer-term deal. At that time, some denounced the interim understanding known as the Joint Plan of Action. Some said Iran would cheat, that our sanctions would fall apart, and that this program would allow Iran to move closer to acquiring a nuclear weapon. But none of that came to pass. Iran remains under enormous economic pressure. It has halted and scaled back key elements of its nuclear program, and we have gained unprecedented insight into Iran's nuclear activities.